What is going on, guys? So I just tried to intro with the nice camera, but it's just not as wide and I'm not quite used to it yet. Let me know if you guys really want me to see me on the nicer camera. It's a little bit more personable. It's a little bit more zoomed in. It is not what I'm used to. Obviously I could get used to it, but you guys let me know what you guys want to see because I do have some clips next week and you can tell which one is which. This one's a little foggy now, especially because the lens is cracked, but we're going to use it for today because it's what I'm used to, and let's chat about what is going on today. So, we know, obviously, from the title that we're here for the Crosstrek. I'm going to talk about the Lexus a little bit, but for the guys that are here for the Crosstrek, normally we do a bunch of Lexus content. Welcome to the channel. We're going to be doing a lot of Crosstrek content, which I will talk about in a moment. And I'll tell you guys what I plan on doing to this car. And yes, let's just catch up with what we have for a bunch of new parts for both cars. First, we're going to start with the Lexus because it's pretty straightforward and simple, and we already talked about it, and most of you guys already know what it is. So, we got the Lexus there. We got tow arms. Now, I got Megan Racing Speeding. I don't know if that's what's called. Megan Racing tow arms again. Now, for those of you who don't know, the last ones that I had, one of them seized. The other one is still working. They're good. I'm not going to say that they're not good. You guys got to realize that most rose joint applications, most applications, stock cars come with bushings. And the reason for that being is because rose joints tend to be much stiffer. Obviously, they drive much stiffer, which means less smooth. And on top of that, when they are pinched in certain scenarios, they are more likely to break because a bushing is obviously going to have more give and it's going to tear versus this is just going to snap and pop. So typically, these arms come with bushings. In our case, we have rose joints. The rose joint is fine in my case, but the actual arm where it adjusts, this spins around and it basically elongates or shortens the arm to create toe in or out, and it's seized on that car. Now, the reason for that being is because obviously the arm is seeing the weather. I did not anti-seize them. I greased them, and I should have anti-seized them. I thought I could get away with greasing them, and I did not. On the driver's side, I did, but on the passenger side, I did not. The passenger side seized up, and now this arm is no longer adjustable that is in the car. The rose joint is just fine, but basically, I got another set that I'm going to anti-seize instead this time, and maybe I'll cover them with like some tape or something just to make sure that when the elements do come, they don't have an issue. But I'm going to replace it with the exact same ones because the other one is just fine, and I like these. I haven't had any issues, no play in the ball joint and all of that, the one that's still in the car. And yes, it's pretty straightforward. So all I'm going to be doing is swapping the passenger side because the driver one still works. And when the driver one decides to fail, obviously I'll have a spare with anti-seize on it to just toss into the car and adjust it to what the other one is already set to, and it will make my life much simpler. So that's why we went with more Megan Racing tow arms for the Lexus. The other thing that I also got for Lexus that I don't have on hand is a handbrake. Yes, a hydraulic handbrake. I did not decide to go with a dual caliper setup. I decided to go with an inline setup. And we'll talk about that when we do it. It's probably not going to be for a while as I got a lot of stuff going on. We also know over there we have a muffler for the car to quiet it up because I want to daily this for a little bit because this car eventually has to have the motor pulled out, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But yes, so this has a muffler, an inline brake, hydraulic brake setup for the rear, and also the tow arm that has to go in over here, as well as the other reason why I haven't been driving it, we got flat. Now, it's not just like a flat because we have a nail. It's because, of course, I run stretch tires and it did not seat correctly. There's a pinhole somewhere around here. I found it and basically it's leaking air. This thing will last like a week and then it's on a flat. So I gotta de-bead it and then re-bead it and make sure that the bead actually seats. For this, the Crosstrek. Now, the Crosstrek has been doing fine, so I've been sending it. And when I say sending it, I just mean that I have been using it despite knowing what it needs. Basically, we have, where did I put these parts is the question. There they are. Whole bunch of gaskets. That's not the cool stuff, so we're not even gonna open that up. But it's just a whole bunch of gaskets for the motor. Basically, it is every gasket that you could possibly think of for this car. It is so that when we pull the motor out, we can reseal it because right now it is having an issue where it is leaking oil into the ignition coils. I can't remember what the seals are called. Maybe they're called ignition coil seals. I don't know. But basically it's leaking oil through there. It's also leaking oil into the coolant passages there's a point in the upper pan where coolant goes through it, and the seals eventually go from just being heated up, cooled off, heated up, cooled off over time, and then it lets oil into the coolant, which will eventually clog your cooling system. So this motor has to come out so I can reseal everything on it. And yes, that time will come, but at the moment it is not terrible. So we're gonna send it and we're gonna drive it as it is and hope for the best. In the meantime, obviously we have brakes. So those are the brakes. We have tires. Now, these aren't tires for these rims, which means that we also got rims. So we got rims, tires, and brakes for this car, as well as gaskets. Obviously, the gaskets we are not even gonna look at because those aren't that exciting. But obviously, we all know how I am. We all know. Check it out. I mean, I know the fitment isn't amazing, but we know I like low cars. So we also have coilovers coming for this Crosstrek. We don't want all of this extra gap. No, I'm not gonna raise it, but I am definitely going to lower this thing, and we're gonna try to get the fitment dialed in. We're not gonna do it like super crazy. I'm not a stance guy, so I'm not gonna do this all crazy stance. It will have some camber in the beginning. That's because obviously I don't have adjustable arms, but the coilovers are on back order for about a month. So maybe by then I will order all the arms, because they're really not that expensive. I'm not gonna get anything expensive. I'm just gonna get some Godspeed stuff just so I can get adjustability in the rear. And this time, because we learned our lesson, we will anti-seize them and cover them. I'm thinking I'm gonna do traction arm, I'm gonna do camber arm, and tow arms. Now, I'll explain why in a second, but for the coilovers, I went with ISC coilovers, ultra lows, so this car is going to be pretty darn low. The front should be fine because on the coilovers, they have camber adjustability in the front on the top hat. So we shouldn't have any issues with the camber in the front. Although in the rear, I've seen when these are lowered, they get like 3 degrees camber, which actually isn't that bad, especially for the fact that it's should be pretty good and dailyable, but obviously I don't want a bunch of camber wear. So we're gonna try to get it more closer to like 1 degree. I would like 0. I really like the look of 0 on cars that are, you know, we're gonna try to make it look sportier. But for the sake of me going through curves, I go through a lot of curves. I daily this car and I go through them fast. We'll probably put like 1 degree or 2 of camber into the front and the rear just so that the car can corner a little bit better. And yes, that's what we're going to do with this car. Eventually we will get springs because obviously I am not going to I don't think I'm going to like the stock spring rate. And from there, you know, we'll decide whether we go stiffer, softer, whatever, but I'm likely going to go with a stiffer spring, or maybe I'll go with a heavier sway bar so that the car can rotate better, because at the moment already I'm getting a lot of understeer. But keep in mind, I also really need tires, and obviously I need brakes. Now, I may not need brakes, but it may be because the tires are so worn out, but we're gonna find that out together today. But yes, we have all of this stuff coming for this Crosstrek, so stay tuned for all my Crosstrek guys that want to see a lowered Crosstrek and see what it is to do this and the issues I'm going to come into. The reason I'm getting all those arms is because I do think, like I said, obviously I know the camber is going to be way out, which I'm worried it's going to have the same issue as this car. The issue with this car is that I've seen people who even get adjustable arms, and still if they don't get the right adjustable arms, then they still can't get the camber to 0. This car definitely needs the camber to 0 in the rear. It does not have it. I don't have adjustable arms, but that's because I'm worried about getting arms and then them still not being able to give you zeroed out. The solution to that would be getting upper control arms so that you can adjust the top out more. But I don't think that these cars even have a aftermarket solution for upper control arms, which means that we're going to have to try to do our best to keep the camber in as close as possible using the ride height and the control arms adjustability and hope for the best. In the case that I can't get it completely to where I want it to, because I want at least be able to get to like 1 to 2 degrees, which I don't think is going to be an issue, I will go to a friend and get them adjusted and basically have them customly done. But I think we should have some luck and be all right. Now, the reason that a lot of these arms don't do that is because, specifically for the Crosstrek, is because the Crosstrek, most of the time, they raise these things, and obviously, you know, you're gonna need more camber more likely than not if you raise the car, versus lowering it is gonna add more camber, which means you're gonna want to pull camber out. So that's the reason for getting all these arms and hope for the best. I don't think the stock toe arms are going to be able to adjust the toe to where I need it, so we're gonna get toe arms. And then the traction arms are just because it's going to make the car feel better off gas. So basically a traction arm is just the leverage that gives the wheel, it gives the wheel leverage to press against the ground when you put your foot on the gas. So it's going to make it feel stiffer and it's going to make it launch better. I'm not trying to make it launch better, but obviously if I stop and go, it's going to give me more feeling. And yes, it's going to make the car stiffer, but it's going to give me more accurate response as to what's happening with the car. So that's what I'm planning on doing. Anyways, let's get into doing this. I know that was a lot of talking and a lot of long-winded stuff, but I had a lot of stuff to show you. I'm going to open up the brakes and show you guys what I got. Obviously, you guys already know by the title, but I'll show you what came in the box and how it came out and where I ordered them from. Let's get into it. I also want to talk about the spec of the tires. We'll talk about that and what direction I'm going with that. I may have talked about the wheels already, but I will talk about those a little bit. And we'll also talk about the direction we're going. For those of you guys who've already been here, you guys already know, I definitely like my car to look cool. So obviously it is not completely form over function. I do like function over form typically, but I am a little vain and I like my car to look cool. So sometimes we go with form, and hence why we have right now 18.9.5 plus 12, 225, 40 versus doing an actual setup where I could do like an 18.8 or 18.9 and actually get this car to really get going, because we wanted the fitment to look decent in the rear. So anyways, with this, I know I'm talking a lot, so I'm getting winded here. We got some eBay special. That was something else I meant to lead with too, is that these are eBay tires. They do the job. They're decent. These are Lexani's. I don't know the quality as far as like getting on them in terms of doing burnout stuff like that. I do a lot of burnout stuff like that, but I still wouldn't say that I take it to the extent of drifting. So some tires tend to delam and stuff like that. I haven't had any bad experience with these tires. I've had them for 3 sets now. The brand is Lexani. That's not what I'm using now, but there's another brand that I've used before that you guys probably recognize, because this is not really eBay, but it used to be eBay. It's, for me, I call it premium eBay. So these are Excelera. That's the brand. Excelera used to be an eBay tire specifically, and over time they put more money and development into their tires, and now they make really, really, really good tires for a fair price. Prior to getting these ones, if you look up there, those are Exceleras, and they are really, 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 really good. They drive really good. Now, this is, I would say they wear fast, but they really don't. They wear fast compared to an all-season tire, but again, that's the whole preface of it. Depending on what you're getting the tire for, you need to know what you're getting your tires for. And all-season tires tend to going to be a harder tire, which means it's going to wear slower. The tire that I have up there is a softer tire. It's meant for driving, which means that it grips better and you're going to get more traction. It's going to feel better. It's going to give more response. And yes, I really, really like those tires, but they were a little too fast for me. I don't really need a lot of grip. Like I said, this car was meant to be a fun car. It's got a welded diff in it, and you know, it's that type of car. So here we obviously have a fatter tire. This is a 255 40/17, and this is an Excelera. It is an all-season. It is a 400 tread wear. If you know your tread wears, you know that these things are not regulated, but this is basically a softer all-season tire. That's how I would describe it. It does say traction A, temperature A. Basically what that means is I think it's something like 120 plus it can do, maybe 150. But that's usually what that traction and temperature number means, that up until that point, they are going to be fine. As far as the tire feels, it feels pretty good. I like the feeling of this tire, and obviously I haven't driven it yet, but I am confident, as I did have the other sets. I don't know if those are all seasons. I want to say that they were more of a driving tire, but these are all seasons, and I'm hoping that these ones last fairly long because they're a lot wider than the stock tires of the Crosstrek, but they are a softer compound, and they are also a smaller tire in terms of diameter, but obviously they're wider, so I'm hoping that they last much, much longer or as long. Now, if you guys know, if you guys are Crosstrek owners and you own these, you obviously have had the stock setup most likely, unless you got these cars secondhand. They typically come on Yokohamas, and this is like an all-terrain tire, I want to say. I think it's an AT tire. It says Avid Ascend. I don't know. But these are the typical tire they come on, and basically they're a really, really hard tire. They drive decent for what they are. They don't necessarily make a lot of noise, at least in my experience. I have heard that other people had noise complaints, but I don't really care about noise for my car, so they should just be fine. But they're hockey pucks, bro. Now, I don't know what the tread wear is on this car, but basically these are yeah, holy crap. There's your answer. That's accurate. Tread wear 800. I've never seen a tread wear that high. Yes, so basically I would describe these things as giant hockey pucks. Now, what does that mean? It means that they take forever to wear. I had these ones for probably 40 to 50,000 miles, and they still have some life in them. They don't have life for the rain. They don't have life for the snow. I would not recommend running your tires to this point. They are about to be on the tread bar, but they do still have life in them, and I do still daily them, even though I shouldn't be. Granted, I have rims and tires that are going to go in the car, but these things are hockey pucks. These things are hockey pucks, and what I mean by that, like I said, they don't wear very fast, and they also don't get a lot of grip. So anytime I get in the rain and I'm taking a curve fairly fast, I will get a lot of understeer in this car. The front end will start to wash out basically, and then the whole car just kind of slides, which will then cause oversteer. And yeah, it's not fun, but the fact that the tires last so long, if you're not an idiot like me and you drive the car as an economy car, then the tires will last you very, 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 very long time. My mother had the same set on here before I got the car, and they were from the factory. The tires that came with the car, they lasted her till 90,000 miles. And no, they didn't have much life on them, but they weren't down the wire, which is very impressive. So I ended up just getting her these tires for Mother's Day or something, and put the same tires on because I knew that they would last her a really long time. Now I have the car. Now I'm gonna swap them out because they're hockey pucks and I really don't like driving on them. So yes, these are the stock ones, and we're gonna get rid of those because we don't like those, but we're gonna swap over to these. The other thing to talk about, again, I know I'm doing a lot of conversation, but this is just, for all the Crosstrek guys. If you guys know or you guys do your research, you can go with a lot of different sizes for these cars. I don't know what these are, but this is going to lead me into what I'm putting on for rims. But the stock ones I do know are 17.7. I don't know what the offset is. I know that it is a very, very, very sunken offset, something like 38. And so when we go up, a lot of guys I've seen on the fitment pages were like 18.9.5, 235/40, 245/40, 18.9, all around like plus 40, plus 35. And I seen some 17 setups, and they were about the same offset, usually like 17.9, 17.8s even, but those were a little more sunken. I like the aggressive look, so obviously I went with the 255. A lot of these guys were running, like I said, 245/40, 18. These are 255/40, 17, so this is going to be about the same size as an 18, 255/35. So I would assume, as if you do the math, it's 25 inches, okay? That's how tall the rim and tire is going to be, the wheel overall together. With that being said, a lot of these guys are running rims that are about 25.5 inches and 26 inches. I believe the stock rim is stock rim and tire is something like 27, which is massive. And it's decent. It probably gets better gas mileage when you're going higher speeds because a bigger wheel means you're going to get, it's going to roll easier and catch more speed essentially. But a smaller wheel and a lighter wheel, which is what we're going with, is going to save you on gas technically because it has less rotating mass. Which leads me into what we got up there. Those are 17.9s plus 35, as you can see on the box. I don't know if you can see it because I'm really far away, but that's what those are. And they're this exact rim because I wanted my rims to match. Now, their only catch is that they're not gold. I tried to get the bronze, but they didn't have them in stock. I wanted my cars to have matching wheels. It would have been so sick to have the bronze with the bronze. But in this case, we got gunmetal, which I'm not a huge fan of on this car because obviously the car is gunmetal, but it's more of like a matte gray gunmetal versus this is like a bluish gunmetal. So hopefully it won't look too crazy, but that's what we went with. Eventually, I'll probably go and get some gold ones and have the matte gunmetal ones as snow tires and the gold ones as regular tires. Granted that we like the 17 size on the car, because this is just obviously me testing and hoping for the best. So hopefully I'll have that done in this video, but I'm not gonna make any promises because I gotta go get them mounted. And yes, obviously the car won't be lowered yet, so we won't be able to check the fitment, but we'll at least get to see what the offset is and all of that stuff. Let's get back into loading these up and then open up these brakes. So they come with this. They come with this plastic. We're just going to rip that off. So yes, that's what I thought. The cardboard is on top of the hairnet. The hairnet is on top of the foam. The foam is on top of the rim, and that's how it comes. And this is a nice fresh rim. They do say that before you take these in, you should check them so that if they are beat up from the deliverer, you can send them back. I haven't had any issues. This is my third set. Like I showed you guys, I got a white set, I have a gunmetal set, and I have a bronze set. And I will talk about these later on. And part of the reason I got these is because they are very, very, very light wheeled and they're very fair priced. I would almost go as far as to call them a Chinese RPF1. They are sold stateside, but they are made in China. And yes, they are very, 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 very light. They are not RPF1 lights, but for $200, they are very, very light. But, you know, they're reps of another wheel. And we're not going to call them what they are because, you know, I like the brand, the Circuit CSF1, and we're not going to throw dirt on them. But the whole point of this wheel is to be a motorsport wheel that is light, affordable, and looks fairly decent. Obviously, if it's a rep of a JDM wheel, it's going to look pretty good. So that's how the wheels come. And yes, let me get these loaded up. Then we'll test fit one on and see what it looks like. Obviously, I'm not going to put it on the ground because I don't have tires on it. We're just going to put it on the car, and we'll see. Maybe it'll give me a different feeling of how I feel with the gunmetal on gunmetal of different shades. Okay, so let's get into these brake box. What do we got here? We got a package from trusty old Rock Auto. I will say this packaging was half-assed. Now, this happened after I took them out, but this did happen. It just kind of came out of the box and exploded. So if you have one of these, make sure you keep these because I believe this does have the braking instructions on them. Basically, you just do, you know, your whole braking after, you know, drive up to 30, brake it harsh. I can't remember it, but if you don't, I remember when I do it on the road. If you don't know, keep the box. I believe the box says it on there somewhere. All of our brake clips, you know, the squealer stuff, all of that. So it comes with that. Here is an actual box that's still put together. If I can get it open, hold on. Two hands. All right, here it is. So this right here is going to tell you how to brake in your brakes. Make sure you keep that and you read that and you do that properly so that your brakes will be seated properly. This comes with more brake clips. This is for the rear. These ones are the nice little baby ones. They are not that heavy. And then we got brake grease. I have brake grease. I use a silicone-based brake grease instead of this, so I'm going to use that. Then, in that box that was exploded, the pads, or for the fronts, these are beefier. If you notice, this carbon fiber ceramic pads. I know, carbon fiber hype. I really don't care about this. Although, they do brake better, they dissipate heat better. The reason for getting these carbon fiber ceramic pads is because normal brake pads create a lot of brake dust, make your wheels dirty. We just got new wheels. Obviously, we don't want to make those dirty. I have had carbon ceramics on the rear of these and my wheels were amazingly clean. On the front, I don't. I do have a set that need to go on here, but at the time they were back ordered, so I put on regular ones. But it makes a world of a difference. It makes you make sure that your wheels are clean and you're not getting a bunch of brake dust and staining your wheels. So that is why I went with carbon fiber ceramic, as well as, yes, they have a better heat dissipating quality, which means that your brakes are going to work more effectively for longer periods of time and get less heat soaked. So that is why we went with carbon fiber ceramic. Okay. I know, don't worry, this razor, I see it. Next, we have rotors. Yes, we got drilled and slotted. Dude, I really want drilled and slotted. Honestly, I could care less. I do like them. I love the way they look on this car. Drilled and slotted for the Crosstrek, not that excited, to be honest. I think it looks a little bit tacky. So for those of you who got drilled and slotted Crosstrek brakes and thought that it was cool, that's cool. But for me, I think that they're a little nerdy, or I don't know, just a little rice. But they do brake better. They actually are better performing. They make a little more noise than your normal brakes would, but honestly, they work great. This is the exact same set. I think those might be Z23 because they don't make Z26 for this setup, but they work amazing. And the braking performance from this to this is a huge difference. Obviously, those are bigger brakes, but trust me, you want to go with the upgraded Powerstops. I like them. They do their job very well. I'm excited to try these and see how they do, and I will let you guys know how they do once we get them on the car. But for now, let's put these together and let's open up the rest of the box. So, oh, there goes the blade. I was telling you guys not to worry about. Okay, we'll find that in a moment. And you know what? We'll find it right now because I need it. But anyways, in those boxes was also brake slider covers. So if you need to move brake slider covers, they do come with those. And don't lose those. They also even come with a piece that goes on the actual slider pin. So that is also very nice. I'm actually hyped that those came with that because these things tend to get cooked up. Let me grab that blade. Okay. Last but not least, we have our rear rotors. Now, I don't know why they're so big, or at least in height. Look, no, you know what? We're still not going to be smart. Sorry. So, I'm assuming it's because obviously they need to put a brake shoe under there. So yes, that is definitely what it is. These are the rears. Again, not so excited that they are drilled and slotted. Yes, they're going to perform better. That is what I'm excited about. But I do think that they are a little bit rice. But who cares? They are to make the car drive better. So we got those in the last kit. It's a silica package just so that we know they're not getting corroded in there. And we got one more. That is it. And another piece of brake grease. So now that we have all our rotors and all of our parts, let's get into taking this thing apart. I have the car on right now because I was charging the phone, but I'm about to get to work now. And yes, let's get into this. So remember what I was talking about with the brake dust? I know, the compressor's on. Look how black the inside of this rim is. This is not supposed to be this black. I will say, what's cool about this rim is they're not even needed to be balanced. So these rims are the original rims and they don't need to be balanced, which is nice. But wow, look at that brake dust. This is not supposed to look like that. It should look similar to that. It may have been painted. It may look like the front of this, but obviously this is why we're going carbon ceramic. This wasn't my car before, so obviously I would have cleaned these to try to prevent this, but these are far gone. They don't look that terrible in the front, so maybe we put snow tires on these just in case, but yes, this is why we're going carbon ceramic. Right now, I got all the wheels off, car's in the air. These are my old brakes. I don't know. Hold on. Well, rotors look fine, but let me see. I'm trying to see if I can see in here. I really can't. The pads don't look like they're going to be great. There we go. Let's see here. It's hard to see. Can't really see through the camera. Yeah, these pads look like they are probably like 6s or 5s, which isn't terrible, but they're not the greatest. And they don't feel the greatest. So I guess I'm just driving the car hard. I don't know. We'll see when we actually take them off, but they do look like they're decent still. I'm assuming the rears are probably cooked because I don't think these were ever done for a long time. Let me see. These rotors are definitely cooked. Pads are not terrible, but they're not bad. They're probably like 4s, which is not good, but it's not great. I mean, excuse me, it's not bad, but it's not great either. So I'm assuming the fronts are probably like 5s or 6s, which is still really not that bad. The braking that I'm feeling has to be from the tires then, like the crappy braking. And yes, we just need to replace the tires is I guess where I'm at, because these hockey pucks are not it. So yeah, I guess we're gonna hopefully get some difference in the braking. I don't think it's gonna be much considering that they look like they're fine, which means that it's probably because the tires are just cooked that we're not getting that great of braking right now. But we're gonna change them, do everything. And then luckily I have my friend Carlito who has a lot of tools. He's got a bleeder, so we don't have to sit here and pump a whole bunch. All we gotta do is put the bleeder on, put the air to it, and it'll suck out all the bad fluid. And then we can keep filling it up with the good fluid, and this thing will be bled and not have any issues. So let me get back to work. Okay, so these things fought me. I meant to talk about this too. When I first did these brakes, if you guys recalled, I said I did them about last year. When I did do them and I went to take the caliper bracket off, the caliper bracket bolt snapped off. Now these tend to just get really crusty. This car has always been parked on pavement. This car is super rust free, and still these get super crusty just from age. So what I do recommend is get you some penetrating oil that's gonna crack that loose, as well as I put a little bit of heat to it. I probably put it on there for like maybe 30 seconds at most, just to get it like hot to the touch. And then I'll take a longer ratchet and I'll crack them loose. And this is about the same size ratchet that I snapped them with last time, but I didn't put any heat or penetrating oil, and the bolt snapped clean off. Luckily, I was able to get the rest of it out. How, I don't remember. I think we just twisted it out. We put a vise on it and twisted it out, but it was a job and a half. So use some heat, use some penetrating oil first, and then attempt to take these off, because if not, you're not gonna have a fun time. And then when you put them back in, put some anti-seize on them so that that doesn't happen again. I took these two 14s off, so this is ready to come off. We can actually see the pads now if this isn't too crusty. There it goes. Okay. So yes, these pads are actually not bad at all. That just means that they are just not good enough for me. So typically what they'll say is about 5 mil to 3 mil is like, I want to say yellow. Anything below that is red. For me, I would say like 4 and under is red. 9 is usually what they come in at, which is green. 9 to 5 is pretty much green, but 5 is pushing it. 5 for me is when it turns yellow. 9 to 6 is green. 5 to 3 is yellow, and then below that is red. These are probably about 4 here, which means it's red on this side, and 5 on this side, which means it's technically fine. But, you know, we got new pads, rotors. We're not worried about that, so we are just going to take these out. And then we will put on these new rotors and slap a wheel on here just to see what it looks like with the new wheel. Something else I wanted to note while we're here, because you guys are probably here specifically for the brakes that I ordered. That means you got drilled and slotted. Now, a lot of you guys are going to ask the question, which way do these go? Now, Powerstop typically has them labeled. A lot of guys are going to argue, oh, you know, this is all based on the outside. No, this has nothing to do with the appearance. I'll explain why in a second. But definitely listen to this. And even if yours is pointing the opposite direction, but it still says front driver's side, listen to what the sticker says. Now, the reason for that being is because these have nothing to do with it. Yes, technically, if they're against, they will create more resistance, and also they will basically, I've heard that they eat at the pad faster, but let's be honest, this has nothing to do with it. This is simply so that it is cooling better. Now, the real reason that this matters and why you need to listen to the sticker is because these vanes right here are typically in a direction like this and or the opposite direction. And basically what they do is they obviously go with the air, which is going to create like a vortex effect and create more cooling. So don't listen to your friends about the appearance or any of that or the forms. Listen to what the sticker says, because the sticker is going based off of what's going on inside the rotor, which is what matters most. I'm going to take these out, the things that have the rubber over them, and grease those up as well, so that make sure that those are good to slide. If you guys want, you guys can replace the rubbers. My rubbers are fairly good. I'm not going to replace them. I'm going to save the other ones for the time that these do need to be replaced. All right, back to it. So I don't know, for those of you who may or may not know, because my brakes didn't have them, if you look at here, right, we're going to zoom in a second. Now, I thought these go on the bottom because that's how my last brakes were set up, but they don't, and I'll explain how I know why. And I even called just to double check, because my friends at Subaru Tech, they have little pad releasers. I've never seen this before. So he told me to put a little grease under there just so that they don't make noise. So I'm gonna put a little bit of grease on there, but they come on both sides, and basically there's a little pocket. Put a little grease in that pocket, and what it does is, so that when you're braking, and you press the brakes and it presses against the rotor, it'll release them. On my stock pads, they didn't have that, so that's pretty neat that it has that. So just keep that in mind. This is the actual way they go. The bottom should have the dot in the bottom, and they should go right in. These went right in, no issues. And then I made sure my slide pins still slide, so that is all set now. And this is what it looks like on, and we'll put the wheel on in a second, but I got to put this caliper back on and then tighten everything down and then rinse and repeat 4 times. Hey, you know what time it is. It's time to test fit this rim on the brakes. Come on. Here we go. What do we got here? Right there. All right. Trying to be careful because we don't have any tires in this. If I drop this, that is it. I do have, oh, sorry, slippery on my pants. Ooh, it just fits. Wow, it just fits. When I tell you it just fits, it just fits. I got like a finger and a half of space between that and the actual suspension, the strut, whatever you want to call it. But I wanted to see, because I believe these do fit aftermarket wheels. These stock lug nuts, but I've never tried. They do have the conical style, so they should be fine. Hold on, let's get these all seated. Now, just for safety, because I know that some people be sending it. I don't send it. You should get hub-centric rings. I have hub-centric rings. They are, oh, they're actually in the car, but I'm not putting them on right now, so I'm not really worried about it. But you know what? I'm not mad at that. And you know what? With the wheel, I'm not mad at the drilled and slotted, actually. And they actually bounce off the lug nuts quite nice, even though they're not going to be the shiny once I start driving them. But I will say that that rim is close to the suspension, uncomfortably close. So, granted, we're going to go coilovers, but still, I don't know. I think it's going to be tight even for the coilover. So I'm kind of nervous about that. But they run 18.5 in this same spec, and it does just fine. So I will say, as we can see, that the wheel isn't exactly straight. Hold on. All right, that's straight-ish. Oh man, yeah, that's gonna be the money, and it's gonna be square because I got a 255. Oh, I'm excited for that. Oh, what's that? Oh, okay, that's just cardboard. Oh man, yeah, that looks good, man. I'm actually not mad at that. The color is not bad at all. With the brakes, you can see the brakes nice and clearly. I'm thinking about, I heard that you could do old WRX 4-pots on these. I would like to do that because I really just think these brakes are not enough. Like, I don't know. I've had brake fade already with these. Granted, I haven't tried the drilled and slotted yet, and I'm trying a different pad now. But yes, so I'm gonna get back to work. I gotta do the rear still, and then I gotta bleed the system. So I just wanted to get that quick piece of dopamine real quick, hit a dopamine real quick so that we can see what it looks like and get an idea and get excited for tomorrow and when the coilovers come, because wow, these are gonna look good. I think I'm gonna put them on immediately, and then I'll go get an alignment, and then I'll get a second alignment when I get the coilovers, especially because I'm gonna get arms and everything. I'm hoping that the tires don't wear unevenly because it's gonna be a different setup, and this is probably running positive camber right now, but if it does, it is what it is. I'm really not that worried about it. It's fine. Worst case scenario, we buy more tires. Yes, it's an extra $500. $100 for alignment, $400 for all 4 tires. They come 2 for $200, so it's not bad, $100 a tire. And yes, it is what it is, but I'm excited. This looks really, really good, guys. So it is a bit small for my liking. I like bigger rims. Obviously, I got 18s on this. I did try 17s on this. I think the 17s look a little bit sportier, and I like the way the 17s look, especially with a fat tire. So I'm hoping with the tire, it's going to make me a little bit more happy. I definitely wouldn't be mad at an 18 though. I did see, so initially I didn't want to do the 18 because I felt like the 18 on a 255/35 wasn't that square. I saw setups with 265/35. I didn't ever see that before on an 18.5, and that is fat, but it does look really good. Maybe we go that route because it'll make the actual wheel a little bit taller by like maybe 0.3 inches. It'll fill out the wheel well better, but we'll get there when we get there. Plus, it'll make the suspension a little bit happier because the actual whole chassis will be up a little more. So maybe we'll go that route when we get the new gold ones, because if I don't like these, right, if I don't like the setup with this, I could definitely get, I'm confident I could get bronze ones that are 18, and then I could have my matching bronze, and then these could be the snow tire ones, and I could get a really fat snow tire for it because it's a 17, and it would be perfect for the ride height. I could match it to the setup I would run for the 18. So we'll see, but I'm gonna get back to work. Oh man, that looks good, man. I'm excited for these to have the tires on them. So yeah, let me get back to work, and yes. So let's put on the rears. I just wanted to show you guys before I do that. My pads, I'm pretty sure this is where I'm getting all that brake feel, spongy brake feel. These pads are basically cooked. So that's your wear line right there, that indent. Obviously this one doesn't have one because they are on their way out. This is probably like 3 mil, maybe 2, but this is why we say that it's not really acceptable. It's definitely not acceptable in my opinion, especially for driving I'm doing. I drive an hour and a half to work, so I need these things to work. So good thing these are getting replaced. I know these haven't been replaced prior to the front brakes being replaced, and you saw those were pretty cooked. Granted, these cars are set up so that front brakes do most of the work, but now that these will be good, these will definitely make my pedal feel way better. On top of that, I'm pretty sure that they pad slapped it and that these were original rotors, and these rotors are cooked. So having a nice fat rotor in the back is going to feel really good in the pedal, as well as feel really good on the fitment of how the wheel sits in the caliper, which should make the alignment feel a little bit better. And also, I wanted to know also, I would brake clean these while you're here. You have it off. You can clean this real quick, hit it with some brake clean. Normally I would clean the inside of that, but I got a rotor, so I don't got to worry about that. But I'm literally just going to brake clean this pad so that it's nice and crispy. And then we'll slap everything back on. Some guys anti-seize this stuff. I don't do none of that. Like I said, I'll anti-seize the caliper bolts on the front. I don't do the backs. I might do a little bit because they were really, really, really dry, and they were not tough to come out, but they were just sticky. So I'll put a little bit of anti-seize, not a lot. The fronts I did do a decent amount, but caliper I just compressed. My caliper tool didn't fit, so I had to use a clamp. Just be mindful that it's going to raise your brake fluid level, so have something up there so that it doesn't spill everywhere, and also crack it open so that you don't pop nothing. So yes, I just did that. I'm about to clean those, put the rotor back on, and then I will show you the end result, and we'll get into also breaking them in, because I'm going to go break them in after this. So let me get back to work, get back to it, and then show you the end result. Okay, so all done. Yes, I did bleed my brakes. For those of you who are doing this, make sure you bleed your brakes. I have a vacuum setup, so I was able to do it with a vacuum setup. Put it to the air hose, it sucks the fluid right out. Not my favorite, but does the job. Flushed most of the fluid out, so now that should feel really, really, really good. That should also help my whole situation that's going on as far as the braking. Now we're gonna go do that break-in period. I got this for myself in the car. I gotta take the car down. If you want to, you can screenshot this if you threw yours out. I also did an oil change because this car was overdue for an oil change. So now I'm about to turn it on and turn it off just to make sure that oil goes through all the system and all that stuff, and then check how much is in there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And we're gonna go seat these pads for my stock rim, guys. That's what it looks like. It looks fairly stock still. This actually isn't as ricey as I thought it was gonna be. It actually looks really good because of this right here matches the actual rotor. So it actually doesn't look that bad. It actually looks sporty. Oh, I didn't even see that either. You can actually see the extreme, which I'm sure that'll get dirty over time, but that's pretty neat. So yeah, no, I'm not mad at the drilled and slotted how they look. Let's go test drive this thing. I just finished topping her off. Now we can pull her out and go do this break-in procedure for these brakes. Okay guys, so now I have finally tested the car. As you can see, it's raining. I'm at work now. I did a full drive. I did my whole hour drive, hour and a half drive. So yes, I like them 1,000 times better. Even with the bad tires, they are performing. They're doing much, much better. The ABS is not acting up. Yeah, I would say in the beginning, I don't know what it is. It's almost funny. Every time I get these brakes, when I first break them in, the first break I get to like a light where I get to a dead stop, the calipers really, really seat, and they do like this anvil sound. It goes ding. In the beginning, I was like, and I did this with my Lexus that has the same brakes, but they're Z23s. And I was like, what the hell was that? It literally sounds like an anvil falling out of the sky, like Minecraft. So does that, and then you seat them. You know, I did my whole routine, what it says to do, 40 to 10, 5 times fast, immediately, back to back. Then you do 35 to 5 moderately, 5 times, and then you do just 10 minutes of driving to cool the brakes, and that's it, and they're seated. So yeah, I like them. They got a decent amount of bite. I'm used to my car where I have no ABS, so the bite is very, very aggressive, and I like that for certain things. For this car, I didn't want a lot of bite, but it has enough bite where I feel like the car is gonna stop, and I know where it's gonna stop, and it's much more gradual, and as you press down on the brakes, it gives you more feedback in terms of like it keeps getting firmer and firmer, and obviously you keep getting slower, faster, more aggressively. So they're definitely more aggressive. I wouldn't say they're not streetable, but they definitely feel more sporty. And yeah, they're very dailyable. I don't know about noise for you guys because I dailied my drilled and slotted, and I don't mind the noise. It does kind of like a it's like a humming noise when you're coming to a stop if you're coming aggressively. Other than that, I really don't have an issue with the noise. Granted, I usually have my radio on, so like I said, this is my daily. I don't mind it. I would like to go with bigger brakes eventually. I just like having brakes. I like being able to stop quickly just in case. The next thing is going to be the rims and tires, and that's really going to be the story when I get a lot of grip out of the tires and the brakes can really, really do their job. So yes, stay tuned for that. I didn't get that done yet, unfortunately. I didn't have time, so I should have them on next week, which that'll be another video, and hopefully the coilovers will be in sight. And what I mean by that is maybe the company will tell me when we're going to get them, because we still haven't gotten a shipping confirmation yet. We've gotten a confirmation that they're being made. So I will see y'all hopefully next week. I hope you guys enjoyed this little Crosstrek video. For the guys that like the Crosstreks, stay tuned. I'm going to do a bunch more. Like I said, coilovers, control arms, and the wheels are still coming. So I will see y'all when I see y'all. Peace out.